Welcome back to another Post Media Ottawa Senators panel. I'm Bruce Garrioch with my special guest, the legendary Gord Wilson, the longtime color analyst of the Ottawa Senators since day one. And actually, Gord, you were really there on day one. You were there on December 6th, 1990 at the Breakers Hotel in Florida when the Ottawa Senators were awarded a franchise. And this weekend, they're celebrating the 30th anniversary. And just take us back to that day, because I know it was very exciting, not only for you, but for the city.
Well, just a flood of memories coming back right now, Bruce, and it's odd because we shouldn't be remembering anything based on what happened the night before on Saturday, December the 5th. It was quite a night, but it was more than just the announcement. It was the week leading up to the event itself at the Breakers Hotel in West Palm Beach. I had the good fortune of being put on assignment, if you will, from 580 CFRA. Our sports director at the time was Dean Brown. Our station general manager was the late Don Holtby, and CFRA and Chum, the owners of the radio station, were very much front and center in trying to get a franchise and then establish the broadcast rights. So we had to be on site. I was the lucky one chosen to go on site, and it was just a week to remember for sure. There's no question. It's one of the highlights of my career, being able to cover that event essentially for about 5 or 6 days leading to the actual announcement, the afternoon announcement that the Ottawa Senators would be joining the National Hockey League.
One of the things that one of the reasons I think that Bruce Firestone, Randy Sexton, and Cyril Later were able to get that franchise, Gord, is because number one, they didn't flinch at the franchise fee, even though the organization didn't have the money.
Right.
But the other thing is, they had done a lot of work leading into that announcement, hadn't they?
Yeah, their due diligence was absolutely exceptional, and they wanted to prove to the National Hockey League that Ottawa was a worthy city and a hockey city. And to that end, when I say due diligence, they didn't. They left no stone unturned. And when you have an Ottawa Fire Department marching band travel to West Palm Beach and go up and down the street that the Breakers Hotel is on, and the Board of Governors is meeting, and all they can hear is this marching band outside, and they go to a window and they see Ottawa there. It stood out. And I mean, it's little details like that weren't so little. And you're right, they didn't flinch at the $50 million expansion fee. And there were some groups that did, and I believe one of them might have been Hamilton and the Tim Hortons group. They said, we're not too keen on paying that. And right then and there, a red flag went up when the Ottawa Senators said, we're in. It certainly helped, yeah, without question.
I look at that week in Palm Beach and what happened there, and one of the things that you look at the situation they were in, they had brought, I think that it's a 400-page big book. One of the things that Cyril Later talked to me about is that some teams just brought folders, and when you talk about they really had every nook and cranny of Ottawa covered in their bid, didn't they, Gord?
Well, this was a leather-bound book. Yeah, you're right. With you had a question about tourism in Ottawa. You flipped the book to the page that described tourism and what the nation's capital is all about. What's the climate? What's the canal? What is that all about? They had every little detail described in this book, this leather-bound book that was given to the Board of Governors. And if you had a question and you didn't have one of the members of the Senators brass there to ask, you just simply had to look up in this book the answer to the questions that you might have had.
I mean, you've told me this wonderful story probably 600 times in the last 30 years, but please recount. Let's start with the night before, because I think you were amongst a group of reporters who Bruce Firestone told, I don't think we're getting the team.
Yeah.
And then just recount the day of actually getting the team.
Well, it goes back to my initial comment about remembering things that we shouldn't remember, but because the party prior to the announcement, the day before, or the evening before, went well into the night. And I can remember standing with a group of other Ottawa-based reporters, and Mr. Firestone coming up to us, and this might have been 2 o'clock in the morning, coming up to us, shaking hands, going to each one of us, shaking our hand, saying, "Thank you for being here. It doesn't look like we're going to get it." And unfortunately, we all kind of believed him and thought, "Oh, this is disappointing. I better have another beer." And so when everything broke up, and probably around 4 or 5 in the morning for some of us, um,
You were much younger then.
yeah, I was much younger than yeah, for sure. But we went to bed. We went back to our own respective hotels thinking, "Oh boy, what a shame. This is so disappointing." And you could barely sleep because of the disappointment. And once you did fall asleep, the turnaround was very quick, because I think it was 8 or 9. Well, it might have been around 8 o'clock in the morning where we all got notices saying, "There's an announcement this afternoon at the Breakers Hotel. You got to get your act together and do it in an awful hurry." So the potential of a hangover lasted probably about 10 minutes, and then it was right back to work and getting into the Breakers and standing outside the room where the announcements were going to be made, or the announcement was going to be made regarding the two franchises. The anticipation, I think everybody was on edge, and I know specifically I'm a nervous kind of guy when it comes to announcements like that. And my sole purpose was to find a phone, and we didn't have cell phones at the time,
Right, yeah.
to find a phone that I had access to have my calling card, my Bell calling card, at the ready. And so yeah, it was a fascinating process, absolutely fascinating process. And once in the boardroom, when the announcement was made, if memory serves me correctly, I'm fairly certain I got a bit of a heads up, because I made eye contact with Jim Durrell at the time. And I could tell by the look in his eyes, and I'm thinking, and this might be far-fetched, but I'm thinking I got a little bit of a thumbs up from him.
Right.
But I could tell from the look in his eyes that it was good to go. And I was good to go. And to a phone I went, and reported back. It brings back wonderful memories, emotional memories, because obviously, excuse me, our city has changed dramatically.
Well, and I mean, I was watching some tape of Jim Durrell, Gord, and I think it's wonderful the way you tell that story. But I was watching some tape of Jim Durrell, and he said, the only thing that matches it was the day that Ottawa was named the capital. I think he said in 1857. And you think of the memories since then. Just one last thing before we wrap up here, though, is I think it's important on these dates that you look ahead. And at some point or another, I do believe there's going to be a 2020-21 campaign, and just the changes that have made. I think everybody's excited about this upcoming season, aren't they?
Well, we've been through a lot over the last 29 years. 2020 should be obviously no different, I guess, Bruce. But yeah, you know what? There is reason for optimism, especially for the on-ice product that I think Ottawa fans especially are anticipating to see, with the likes of Tim Stützle, with another year under the belt of Brady Tkachuk and Thomas Chabot and Matt Murray in goal. There is promise on the horizon, I think. It looks good. We just need now the Players Association and the owners to get their act together and get a season underway.
Well, I know that Senators owner Eugene Melnyk and General Manager Pierre Dorion would agree wholeheartedly with you on getting this season going. Thanks for your time today, Gord. Great memories. Appreciate your time. For Post Media in Ottawa, I'm Bruce Garrioch with Gord Wilson of TSN 1200.